He stood silently, staring at the bloodied collar lying in his palm, the only thing left of his dog, brutally killed by the very officers sworn to protect. In that instant, every suppressed instinct from his special forces past surged back, demanding action. The cops thought they'd silenced just another powerless man. They had no idea they'd just awakened something unstoppable, something that wouldn't rest until their corruption was burned to the ground. Jalen Reed stepped off the bus, instantly feeling the familiar tension tighten his shoulders. It had been 15 years since he left Willow Creek, yet memories remained fresh, some comforting, others brutally painful. Beside him, his Belgian Malinois, Apollo, sat alert, eyes scanning the surroundings with practiced caution. Apollo wasn't just a dog, he was Jalen's lifeline, anchoring him to reality when nightmares of combat threatened his sanity. At 37, Jalen carried scars, physical ones he earned overseas and emotional wounds buried deeper still. His grandmother's passing forced his return home, handing him a modest, yellow brick house she'd lovingly maintained in the historically black Grove neighborhood. But the Grove wasn't the same. Familiar faces were replaced by young, affluent white couples strolling past black-owned businesses with quiet disdain. From day one, subtle aggression greeted Jalen everywhere. Store clerks shadowed him suspiciously. Neighbors watched behind half-closed curtains. Apollo, sensing Jalen's discomfort, pressed closer against his leg, offering silent reassurance. Jalen maintained his calm. After all, surviving 2 deployments required discipline. But beneath the measured exterior, old instincts were stirring. "You've seen them yet?" asked Gloria Brooks, his grandmother's closest friend, handing Jalen a glass of iced tea one evening. "Those 2 officers, Stanton and Russo, always targeting folks here." Jalen listened intently as Gloria recounted harassment incidents. Honor students handcuffed on sidewalks, elderly neighbors aggressively questioned. His blood boiled quietly, though his face remained neutral. He'd come home for peace, not another fight. Days later, at a community cookout meant to ease tensions, Jalen first encountered the officers. Stanton was tall, powerfully built with piercing gray eyes. Russo was shorter, lean and wiry, with an arrogant smirk permanently etched on his face. Approaching Jalen, Russo's gaze fell immediately on Apollo. "That dog looks dangerous," Russo remarked coldly. "Service animal, former military dog," Jalen replied steadily, carefully controlling his voice. "I'm Jalen Reed, just moved back." Stanton scribbled in a notebook, eyes never leaving Jalen. "Address? Maple Avenue, my grandmother's place." Russo stepped closer, crowding Jalen's space. "Neighborhood's changing, getting better. We make sure troublemakers don't linger." The implied threat hung heavily. Jalen's pulse quickened. Apollo stiffened protectively. Without another word, both officers moved off, but Russo's muttered words were unmistakable. "There goes the neighborhood." That night, Jalen felt himself sliding back into old habits. His mind cataloged vulnerabilities, threats, escape routes. He knew confrontation would come eventually. What he couldn't predict was just how violently and soon it would shatter his carefully maintained peace, forcing him back into a war he thought he'd left behind forever. The tension simmering beneath Willow Creek's calm surface boiled over 3 weeks later. Returning from a therapy session at the VA hospital, Jalen noticed flashing lights outside Bennett's grocery. Officers Stanton and Russo had 4 black teenagers lined up against a brick wall, their faces filled with fear and confusion. "Empty your pockets," Russo barked aggressively, hand resting on his weapon. The youngest, no older than 14, trembled visibly. "Officers," pleaded Mr. Bennett, the elderly store owner, from the doorway. "These boys didn't steal anything. They're regular customers." "Quiet," Stanton snapped sharply, turning toward him, "or we'll discuss your business license." Jalen couldn't walk away. He approached carefully, hands clearly visible. "Officers, I'm Jalen Reed." "They're good students, volunteers at the youth center." Stanton turned slowly, recognition darkening his features. "Reed, we warned you once, stay out of police business." Jalen's heart raced, but his training took over, voice calm. There's no trouble here, just kids shopping. Let's see some ID, Russo demanded, stepping aggressively closer. Jalen complied silently, handing over his license. Russo read it aloud, sarcastically. Military, huh? Big hero returning home, thinking rules don't apply? Suddenly, Apollo stiffened beside him, sensing danger. Russo eyed the dog coldly. Control your animal, or we'll do it for you. Apollo, heel, Jalen commanded firmly, and the dog instantly obeyed. But Stanton drew his weapon anyway, stepping forward deliberately. That dog's aggressive. I feel threatened, Stanton announced calmly, his voice ice cold. Apollo's a registered service animal, Jalen protested, desperation entering his tone. Please. 3 gunshots shattered the air, echoes reverberating through the street. Apollo collapsed instantly, whimpering softly as blood pooled beneath him. Jalen's knees buckled, a raw scream catching in his throat. Musso forced him roughly to the ground, wrists painfully restrained. That's what happens, Russo whispered venomously, when you don't know your place. Jalen knelt helplessly, eyes locked onto Apollo's fading amber gaze, the dog's loyal stare, holding nothing but trust even at his final moments. He's gone, Jalen whispered brokenly, numbness spreading through his body. Stanton smirked coldly. Another aggressive animal off our streets. A bystander nearby had filmed the incident, phone shaking. Stanton shouted, "Stop recording, now!" But it was too late. The witness vanished into the crowd, footage in hand. As Jalen was left handcuffed beside Apollo's lifeless body, something shattered within him. They'd taken more than his companion. They'd awoken the soldier inside. And now he'd unleash everything he once swore to leave behind. If this story of injustice and courage ignited your soul, don't stay silent. Hit that like button now and share this video everywhere to amplify voices fighting against racial injustice. Subscribe to stand shoulder to shoulder in this battle for truth and equality.